Imagine this. You are standing in front of a mirror staring at your reflection when suddenly, for the first time, you see it. Not just your face, not just the lines of age or the scars of old wounds, but something deeper, something almost imperceptible. A shadow flickers beneath your expression, a silent echo of every word ever spoken to you, every touch you've received or been denied, every time you were told who you were before you could decide for yourself. And then, the chilling realization, this is not just you. This is the child you once were, still living inside you, still shaping every decision, every fear, every desperate act of love or self-sabotage. How much of your life have you spent unknowingly replaying the same childhood script? How many of your relationships, your choices in love, your reactions to betrayal, your hunger for validation, or your fear of abandonment are not truly yours but hand-me-down emotions from a past you never chose? Here is the unsettling paradox. The most intimate relationships of your adult life may not be between you and another person, but between you and the ghosts of your earliest years. The way your father dismissed your tears, the way your mother held you just a little too tight, the loneliness of being unseen, the terror of being too much or not enough, these moments did not vanish. They calcified into neural pathways, into expectations, into unconscious demands you now place on lovers, friends, even strangers. Why do you chase after those who hurt you? Why do you flinch at kindness? Why does love feel like hunger one day and suffocation the next? The answers are not in your present. They are buried in the unspoken language of your childhood, in the silent contracts you signed before you knew what they meant. And the most urgent question of all, if you are still being shaped by forces you can't see, how much of your life is truly yours? The truth is far stranger, far darker, and far more liberating than you've been led to believe. But to uncover it, you must first follow the trail of shadows back to where they began. The child does not remember, the child survives. Carl Jung called it the shadow, the repressed, unexamined fragments of our past that refuse to die. Friedrich Nietzsche warned, "One must still have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star." But what if that chaos is not your own? What if it is inherited? A legacy of unmet needs and unspoken wounds passed down like a cursed heirloom. Modern psychology confirms it. Attachment theory reveals that by age 5, your brain has already wired itself around love. The way your caregivers soothed or failed to soothe, your fears, the way they met or neglected, your needs, these interactions became the blueprint for every future relationship. If love was conditional, you learned to perform. If it was unreliable, you learned to cling. If it was suffocating, you learned to disappear. But the problem runs deeper than psychology. Jean-Paul Sartre wrote, "We are our choices." Yet how many of those choices are illusions? How often do you mistake the echoes of childhood coping mechanisms for free will? The tantrum you learned to suppress now masquerades as stoicism. The love you were denied now fuels an insatiable hunger for approval. The child who was punished for saying no now struggles to set boundaries, or worse, enforces them with the same cruelty they once endured. Arthur Schopenhauer saw this cycle as the essence of human suffering. Man can do what he wills, but he cannot will what he wills. You are free to choose, but your desires, your fears, your attractions, your very definition of love, were shaped long before you had a voice. And so, the haunting truth emerges. Your relationships are not just connections between two people. They are unconscious reenactments, desperate attempts to rewrite history with new characters. The distant partner you chase, the friend you idolize, the lover you distrust, they are mirrors reflecting back the unresolved chapters of a story you didn't write. But if the past holds such power, is escape even possible? Or are we doomed to repeat what we do not confront? The answer lies in the most dangerous realization of all. The past does not whisper, it rewrites reality. Every argument you've ever had, every heartbreak you've endured, every moment you felt inexplicably triggered, these are not random misfortunes. They are the silent work of an invisible script written in the language of childhood survival. Cognitive scientists call it pattern matching. Your brain scans present experiences for echoes of the past, then compels you to react as if history is repeating itself. You are not living your life, you are reliving your conditioning. The anxious lover who texts incessant, "Are you mad at me?" messages is not reacting to their partner's silence. They are drowning in the memory of a parent who gave love in erratic, unpredictable doses. The workaholic who can't relax isn't merely ambitious, they are still trying to earn the approval they never received. Even your attractions are suspect. Studies show we are drawn to partners who replicate the emotional dynamics of our caregivers, mistaking familiarity for chemistry. Viktor Frankl observed, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose. But what if the space itself is an illusion? What if your reactions are so deeply automated that you mistake them for instinct? Cultural conditioning magnifies the trap. Society romanticizes following your heart, never questioning whether the heart was programmed by neglect, enmeshment, or trauma. Neurologically, this is literal. Childhood stress alters the amygdala, the brain's fear center, leaving some hypersensitive to abandonment, others numb to red flags. The most devastating consequence? You may spend your life punishing people for crimes they didn't commit or forgiving ones they did because your nervous system cannot distinguish past from present. But here's the turning point. Awareness breaks the spell. The moment you recognize the script, you are no longer an actor in it. You become the director. The question is, do you have the courage to rewrite the story? The prison door was open all along, you just never thought to push it. Breaking free doesn't require erasing your past. It demands something far more radical, seeing it clearly for the first time. Carl Jung warned, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. This is the rebellion, not against your history, but against the illusion that it owns you. Start with the body. Trauma researcher Bessel van der Kolk revealed that the body keeps the score. Your nervous system, not your thoughts, holds the deepest imprints of childhood. That sudden tightness in your chest when someone raises their voice? The numbness that follows conflict? These are somatic echoes of old survival strategies. To rewire them, you must first notice them. Pause. Breathe. Ask, is this feeling mine, or is it a ghost? Next, interrogate your patterns. Psychoanalyst Alice Miller exposed how we unconsciously repeat childhood dynamics, calling it the repetition compulsion. Do you seek partners who make you feel small because it feels familiar, not because it's love? Do you sabotage intimacy because deep down you still believe you're unworthy? Write these patterns down. Expose them to daylight. Then, the most subversive act of all, rewrite the script. Neuroscientist Donald Hebb discovered that neurons that fire together wire together, meaning you can forge new pathways, but only through deliberate action. If you were taught love is earned, practice receiving it without conditions. If you learn to mute your needs, voice them even if your voice shakes. History's greatest rebels, Nietzsche, Frankl, the Stoics, all shared one insight. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. You can't control what happened to you, but you can refuse to let it define you. The child inside you isn't a curse. It's a compass. Listen to its wounds, but don't let it steer. The final truth? You are not breaking free. You are coming home. And the last step, the one that changes everything, awaits. Here is the secret no one tells you. You were never broken. The chaos, the hunger, the seemingly irrational fears, they were never flaws. They were intelligent adaptations to a world you could not yet understand. A child who learns to fawn for safety becomes an adult with preternatural empathy. A child who dissociates under pressure becomes a visionary who sees beyond the moment's pain. What you mistook for weakness was survival genius, your psyche's way of preserving you until you were strong enough to examine the scars. Viktor Frankl, who turned Auschwitz into a crucible of meaning, wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. But the deeper truth? You were never the one who needed changing. The world that taught you love was scarce, that vulnerability was dangerous, that you were too much and not enough. That was the lie. Your childhood did not distort you, it equipped you. The very patterns you curse as wounds contain the exact strengths required to transcend them. This is the ultimate paradox. The way out is in. The more you confront your past with ruthless compassion, not to blame, but to reclaim, the more your relationships become conscious choices rather than unconscious reenactments. The Japanese art of kintsugi repairs broken pottery with gold, honoring the breaks as part of its history. You are no different. Your fractures are where the light enters. So when you look in the mirror tomorrow, do not flinch from the shadow. Thank it. It kept you alive long enough to learn this. Love is not something you earn or lose. It is the ground of your being. Every relationship you've ever had was a distorted reflection in a warped mirror. Now you hold the hammer that shatters the glass. The child you were is not a ghost. They are the prophet who survived to whisper, "See? I told you we were worthy all along." Now go live as if you believe it.